Hillary Duff, singer slash actress. And she speaks about her man, her husband, on the Call Her Daddy podcast. She basically is just describing how he was when they met and how she felt when she met him and how he came across, because she went through a divorce and then obviously she now met this guy that she's with. So that'll be interesting to find out what she said, and let's review it and obviously give my opinion on it, because women like this make it too easy for certain parts of the internet, you know, certain quarters of it, to be able to speak about female nature and speak about the dynamics between men and women. So I'm gonna play the clip and we're gonna get into it, and most importantly, please like the video. It helps the work I'm doing, and let's get into it.
So I think we had like a date maybe a few days after or a week after or something, and it was great, but he was so nice to me. And I remember being like after a few times we had hung out, I was like, he's just so nice. That's not really a thing.
So you thought it was like almost a red flag that he was too nice?
I think I was just like not ready to accept all of that yet. I was like coming out of that, like a long relationship, a divorce. Like I was just like chaotic.
Yeah.
I think I needed some chaos first.
Yes. Meeting a nice guy that's actually going to treat you well. You're like, wait, can you pause for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Let me get
I'll
my
be
shit
back.
together and I'll come back.
Yeah.
So that was Hillary Duff in the interview. Described her man as being a nice guy, basically. Described her man as being a guy that gave her an impression that potentially this wasn't making sense. You know, how he was coming across. Obviously, as I mentioned, she had a divorce. So her maybe being in that state of still emotionally not regulated is where maybe she was coming from. But the point is, this video, it really makes it, as I said earlier, too easy for people, for example, like the manosphere people, not those sensationalized ones on Louis Theroux's documentary, not those guys. They weren't even, again, to me, they're just people who have an audience. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that really were early entrance into the industry or into the environment of this manosphere. If you know, you do your research, you will find them. It makes it easier for the ones that have come later as well online to speak about this type of thing. Because if men hear these things continuously on podcasts that women do, it will be all types of men that hear this. So you have no understanding on the types of men that will be listening and then saying, okay, this is how I'm going to play a game to get the types of women who want bad boys in this case. More or less, she's basically saying, I was going through some issues with my previous situation. I've come out of that. I now want a form of chaos. I want a form of badness. I want nothing that, you know, insinuates any kind of stability, because this guy that's come to me, the new guy, he's not showing anything that is making me feel a way. And I need to feel something. I need my feelings met. And to be in a situation that was not the best, and then want to go into another situation or want a person to exude some form of vibe and this bad boy nature, this kind of get up and go, let's do what we have to do. Let's not have any kind of boundaries. Let's just, you know what I mean? Let me talk a certain way. Let me speak to you a certain way. Let me have this way about me, this coolness, you know, this demeanor, this tone, all of the things that women a lot of the time like, but it may come out of their system later on. They may like it at a certain point. It may come out of their system, or they may settle because they realize those environments that those guys exist in, they don't really take you seriously all the time. So this is a prime example. Again, those red pill manosphere guys, this is why they came. These are some of the reasons. They had other reasons as to what they were speaking on and what that environment was entailing, men's interests, right? But these are prime examples of why they came. And these are prime examples of why men hear information about women and say, okay, what was the error of my ways? I may have been a person that was in the friend zone. I may have been a person that was begging. I may have been a person that was doing the things that wasn't getting me the results with women. So what do I have to do? Oh, those guys are telling me about certain parts of female desires. Oh, what is it? they want this generally. Oh, they think like this generally. Oh, okay. So what do I have to do? I have to get on your purpose as they tell you to do. I have to get in shape. I have to not be a simp. I have to not chase. I have to come across a certain way. I have to have a demeanor, stoicism, all of these things. Again, you have no telling who is hearing this. When women have this vibe about them, you are now making men put on potentially an image of this is what they want, so I'm now going to play the game. The natural instincts and desires of the women is making men all over these years, decades past, understand them and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. In effect, women's way and their natural sort of instincts of what they like is contributing to a lot of people or men saying, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Some do the right things and say, okay, this is what I understand of women. And now I'm going to move accordingly and get the ones that actually make logical sense to me. The ones that actually want me for who I'm developing into or who I am. For example, there's some men that will watch those environments that teach about men and women and say that. But then there's also some that will say, all right, I'm going to play the game. But now it's up to the women to vet who is real and who's not. Because women are the ones that make it clear of what they like and what they want. So now it's on you, and it's made the game harder over the years for women to vet who is real and who's not. Because if they're saying they like this, and then they end up settling for the guy that she's with, guys of all types, and I'm not saying what's wrong or what's right, but guys of all types will listen and start understanding how they have to be. And then it makes it even more challenging for women to be able to cipher what they should be ciphering, to be able to vet, although they still have to vet. It doesn't matter how hard it is, you still have to vet. But now with these kinds of mentalities, men can play any kind of game they want. And that's the problem with having these mentalities. The host didn't even say, you know what? Why would you even want that? She just agreed and said, it does come across a bit too much to have a guy that is like that, a nice guy. She basically agreed. She didn't challenge and say, then again, I've got a lot of viewers. Let me question and see why you would want that though. Okay, you know, I understand it, but is that something that's beneficial? Is that something that is actually logical? To go through something that's chaotic and then want something more or less chaotic? I needed a bit of chaos. I thought you had an environment that wasn't the best. So don't you want something that's a bit more seamless? But again, that's the man's mentality. That's the logical man's viewpoints. The women are different, and that's fine. And that is why there is these environments. You make it easy for those guys to come and set up shop and say, women are this, women are that, men are this, men are that. And watch out for this, watch out for that. If you want a certain type of woman, watch out for that because of stuff like this. And that is good because you show who you are. You give people an understanding. That environment provides understanding for all types of people. Men who are married, men who are divorced, singletons, simps. The advice makes men understand there's nothing fanciful about how you should be dealing with women. It should be from a logical standpoint. Understand what some of them like and then move accordingly. That's what that environment does. From the outside looking in, from what I've seen over the years, that's what they do. You complain about that environment, but then the women are feeding it by saying and having these ideologies. And again, that's fine. It's just like that's your real feelings. If that's what you have, cool. But don't be mad when men are being told about how to maneuver and the female nature and that women like this and women like that. So get your money up and get your physicality up so you can have the pick of the litter because there's a market for them. You know, this is the market. Women who speak from this perspective. Now, it can come out of your system later on, but the point is it still exists. That's the point. The nature is there. You can suppress it. You can be in a marriage. Good luck. That doesn't mean there's not a massive market for women who like men who are bad boys. And even if they go through a situation that is challenging, they still don't mind having something that gives them this kind of thrill. So it also shows women like to boost up certain things that are not the best. They like to advocate for certain things that aren't the best. Again, you want to talk about the male environment that you believe men are infusing things into, you know, young kids or other men negatively. I think this is a negative thing too. So I've said in my other videos, I've had 2 videos about this manosphere stuff. I've said we're both out of order. I think men and women are both out of order in terms of the requirements and roles we're supposed to be in. And this is a prime example of one. There was also a comment, because this video had been clipped on X, and there's a lady called Lisa Britton, and she said on X, "This is the third celebrity I've seen on the Call Her Daddy podcast, sharing similar messages. Millions of women watch this. We can't complain that all men are bad, if in the same breath we're saying we only crave bad boys." This is the point. You cannot say you don't like the manosphere guys. For example, you don't like these guys who are misogynistic, who are, chauvinistic, when you like the aspects of those guys, the characteristics, the traits of those guys. It doesn't make logical sense. Denounce those guys, then you will see a diminishing of them. Don't denounce them, they will still be around. Start changing what you like and the reasons as to why you like it. Then you will see men, the ones you complain of, start having to adapt. The ones that don't have any issue, they don't need any of this guidance on manosphere and how to maneuver. Guys that know how to do what they have to do, they don't need any of that. But there's some that don't understand how women can come across like Hilary, because a logical guy will probably think, but why would you want that? As I've said earlier but why would she want that? And then a guy who is logical will also say, especially if he knows the game, he'll be like, but I understand there's women like that, so I have to move accordingly. But there's other guys that will say, why would she want that? But I want to be the guy that has to give her better. I want to be the guy that, wants to know her more and find out about her mind and heart. I want to be the guy that's going to change that. I need to solve that. That's how some men come into it. But when those other environments, like I said, start giving you game and saying, no, you don't do that. You have to be like this. You have to be like this. Then you complain about the way these men are being taught. It is too harsh, the way they're talking about women. It is this, it is that. But then the women present like this. And this is just one of many examples on these kind of female podcasts. The women say exactly what they like, and that's fine. But when you complain about the result of the men changing, or you believe they're being indoctrinated, look back at these types of videos and many examples. Look back in the years gone by. Sexual revolution and all those things. And some of the mentalities that were being advocated for women to be free and this, that, and the other, discover this and discover that. Some of the early instances of it. And some of the games, in my opinion, men played, because it wasn't a woman that did that started that, it was a man. To play the game to get you women open in a false sense of empowerment. So it's easier for certain men to maneuver in the ways they would want, because there's a market for it. And it's always been this way. Tell women lies, let them feel empowered so they can display what they believe is their truth. But then when the guys are there who may be untoward, for example, trying to get women, they are called all the names in the book. But then women are showing there's a reason why those guys are there. It's what they like and it's what they advocate for. But when it gets too much, that's when they're like, no, I don't want it. Or, oh, he's too much. Or it's too much. You've opened the door for it. These empowerment movements. So you got to know the sort of energy and the mentality and the voice that you have as women. You bring this out, you bring things like this out and start saying the bad boys are the thing. And this is not new. This is not just an online thing. This has been before online existed. It's always been that way. The bad boy on programs and films and in TV shows got the girl. Some men will start playing a game. And if you want that game to be played, and it's been played for decades, continue to show what you like, because men will continue to play the game. But if you want change, it's easier for women to start understanding what they like and see the detriment of it. Because the good men will continually do what they do. They'll just continually live in society and do what's right as much as they can, right? It's the small percentage of men that are not doing what's right that you women complain about. If you want them to change, then something has to change in you. So as I say, don't complain about what you're seeing in the environment that we are in. Because at the end of the day, you kind of call the shots, you women. You call the shots. In a lot of instances, you call the shots. If men know a woman wants certain things, they'll try and feed into it. That's how it works. The minute you're saying you're not on it, and this is not for all women, but a lot, The minute you say you're not on it, certain men won't be able to get certain things. That's how it works. Men, the ones you complain about, the percentage of them that are considered the bad boys and the Chads and the Tyrones, they can then change if they so want to. But the key thing is, really and truly, you women shouldn't be able to complain or shouldn't even complain about the ones that aren't doing what's required, because there's plenty that are. And that's where your vetting has to take place. Complain about all the men all you like. Men are this, men are this, men are that, men are... Good. Find the ones that are not like that. And if you can't, that's an issue on you, because this world is far too big for all men to be the same. And this is proven that all men, again, men ain't all the same, because women know the types of men who are a certain way. Because look, she's got one that is a certain way, a so-called nice guy. And she was open to a bad guy. So men aren't all the same. I wanted a bad guy, more or less, she said. I wanted some chaos. That's bad guy. And she has the opposite of that, the nice guy. So that proves there are different types of men. So when you lump men all in the same basket, you look silly. And that's where men will continually, the ones who want to play the game will play it, and the ones who don't, like the guy she has, won't. But you have to decipher who they are. It will be interesting to find out what people think, though. What's your opinion on the video with Hillary Duff and the host on the Call Her Daddy podcast? Let me know.